You talked about coaches. I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to give you my top 5 all-time coaches. Now, I got to tell you, I did not go back to Casey Stengel. My buddy Kevin and I were going through last night. I didn't go to Miller Huggins. I didn't even go to Tony La Russa. Now, I am also, well, frankly, I'm also a hypocrite here because I have told you that I think Bob Knight is the best basketball coach in the history of college basketball, but I don't have him as the number 1 coach on this list in terms of college basketball coaches. Number 5, Bob Knight. Look, to me, Bob Knight is the best basketball coach in the history of college basketball. He is not, though, the most decorated coach. Yes, he won the Pan American Games. Yes, he won the Olympic gold medal. Yes, he won 3 national championships. Yes, and more yes. When he retired, he was the all-time winningest coach in NCAA history. You don't like him, I don't care. I don't like him personally. I got nothing for him personally, and I hope his health is okay. I don't think it is, but I've been told it isn't, but I hope his health is okay. But the fact of the matter is, I think he is one of the 5 all-time greatest coaches in the history of coaching, whether it is college football, college basketball, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. You can put Scotty Bowman in there. I just didn't know enough about him. Number 4. I got Bill Belichick at number 4. I got Belichick at number 4 because, well, frankly, he should be number 1, I suppose, but he has really slipped. Without Tom Brady, he has not been great. In Cleveland, he was very good. In Cleveland, he had a winning record. He got fired in Cleveland, though. He took the Jets job, backed out of it after a day, which, of course, I support. But then all of a sudden, Bill Belichick heads to New England, and he gets Tom Brady. And next thing you know, he's winning Super Bowls like it's his job, which, oh, by the way, it is his job. Yeah, it is. So, long story short, well, I got him at number 4. He should be number 1. Like, don't tell me about Lombardi. Don't tell me about Shula. Don't tell me about Landry. Don't tell me about any of these guys. The only person I'm going to tell you that could even come close to him doesn't exist. It doesn't. Oh, man, I got this thing stuck in my ear. The person that comes closest to him does not exist in the NFL. He's got too many titles. But I'm not putting him number 1 because he's been bad, actually, since not having Brady. Not good. No playoff wins. Nothing. 0. I guess they went to the playoffs. Nothing. Number 3, you can get mad at me all you'd like, but Urban Meyer won national championships at not 1, but 2 different schools. Urban Meyer, when he went to Bowling Green, he changed the entire place. Like they are still, they are still basking in the glow of Urban Meyer being there because of the football building and upgrading the place. Then he goes to Utah, and guess what? He goes undefeated at Utah. Now, I want to say that again. The man goes undefeated. Undefeated at Utah. Oh, he's your friend. Well, you're right. He is my friend. He's absolutely my friend. I talked to him last night about our golf outing. And we're raising money. And it's a good time. But anyway, yeah, so he's number 3. And then, of course, he wins a national title at frickin' Florida. Then, of course, he wins a national title. Actually wins 2 national titles at Florida. And then he goes and wins a national title at where? At Ohio State. Now, you guys are mad because it's all white dudes. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you my top 5 coaches. You can make out with it what you want. I may need pliers for this thing. This will get interesting. Hang on, because this is driving me bitch. I don't know what to do. I honestly don't. This is embarrassing. But I'm going to get to number 2 here in a second. Anybody got any pliers? Send them to me. Send them to me. Anyway, number 2, Mike Krzyzewski. This is where my hypocrisy goes in. This is where it's like, all right, Dan, you said Knight's the best basketball coach. But you got Coach K number 2 and Knight number 5. Well, I got to tell you, here's why I did this. Because Coach K is more decorated. He is. I'm sorry. Coach K is more decorated. I mean, when you look at all this stuff, I mean, I don't know, 13 Final Fours, 15 NCAA or ACC tournament championships, 13 regular season titles. I don't know. 5 national titles. Only John Wooden has more. Did K cheat? Probably. I don't know. I mean, it seems like he made things go away. What did he make go away? Well, he made an article in somewhere in Louisiana about his program and Carlos Boozer and Trajan Langdon and all these guys' families moving to Duke before the NIL and before the shoe business. And, of course, Marvin Bagley Jr., who I told you was going to be a bust, who I told you was a selfish player, who I told you, and I told the Pacers, do not take. Well, Marvin Bagley Jr.'s family, for whatever the reason, moved to Durham, an exclusive neighborhood. Look, I don't know, and I don't care. Kay had a great career. Kay was fantastic, 30 straight years in the tournament, 3-time Naismith Coach of the Year, which is amazing, 2-time and 5-time ACC Coach of the Year, which is unbelievable, 5 NCAA titles, 13 regionals and Final Fours. I mean, what do you want me to do? Wooden, better resume, only guy really ever than Kay. He won a couple of Olympic gold medals. He changed the entire deal of USA basketball. What am I going to tell you? You can make the argument that Mike Krzyzewski is the number 1 coach of all time. You can make that argument. But I'm going to go with Nick Saban, and you all are going to be mad. But Nick Saban, to me, when I look at Duke, I see an area with players. When I look at Ohio State and I look at Florida, I see an area with players. One of the reasons Urban Meyer is great is because he won championships at both, but he also went and took Utah undefeated, place without players. If you really think about Alabama, if you really think about it, there have been a lot of coaches there that haven't done much. There have been a lot of coaches there that, frankly, haven't done squat. David Shula comes to mind. Gene Stallings certainly did. But this man here has won titles. This man here has won 7 national championships in football. He's won 10 SEC titles. He and I have won the same amount of MAC titles. He's been the coach of the year. He's been all this stuff. Yeah, 1 year in Miami didn't go great, but here's another guy that won not 1, but 2 championships at 2 different schools. I'm sorry, he won championships at 2 different schools, not 2 championships, and then he goes and wins 7. Now, I don't know about you, but until somebody, beats that, I don't want to hear it. And I'll say this also with Urban Meyer and Nick Saban. They did it against each other. Now, I want you to think about that. It's not just Slappy Johnny and the fellas. I'm getting this out, and I win. It's not just Slappy Johnny and the fellas that he's coaching against. Same with Kay. Kay was up against Dean Smith. Kay was up against Roy Williams. I mean, you're talking about real dudes in the real league. Now, I would argue that the SEC, the bottom of the SEC, you can have. I mean, Vanderbilt's no good. Our guy at South Carolina is getting it good. Shane Beamer. I love Shane Beamer. Big fan of Shane Beamer, and he's getting it good. Mississippi's have just been okay. Dan Mullen did a great job at Mississippi State. Florida's not nearly as good as it was when Urban was there. Georgia is the new team, and maybe at some point we will do one of 2 things with Georgia. I guarantee you this one of 2 things. We're going to have him on the, quote, Mount Rushmore. We will have Georgia Kirby Smart either on the Mount Rushmore, or we're going to have Kirby Smart in the Bob Knight, Bob Huggins, Fitzgerald category, because what's going on in Georgia, I get it. Maybe I'm supposing here, but what's going on in Georgia ain't great. It's just not. Georgia football players have not really upheld their honor, I guess, is what I would say. They haven't, and they need to. But the fact of the matter is, I'm going to take Saban number 1. I am. So you got Bob Knight 5, Belichick 4, Urban 3, Mike Krzyzewski 2, and Nick Saban numero 1. Maybe you tell me who you would put on that list. And I can't go back. It's like I tell people all the time. Don't argue with me about one thing. The most difficult record in sports to break is 511 wins by Cy Young. Nobody's touching that. I mean, nobody is even close to it now. And now pitchers, if they win 10 games, they win the Cy Young Award. I don't want to hear it. I don't.